Welcome back to my mom's basement, ladies and gentlemen. I am here with wrestling's five-tool player, AEW's own Anthony Bowens. This is a guy that I've known for a long time. I feel like people probably don't even realize it. I was going to Wrestle Pro shows in high school and watching this guy rise through the ranks of his hometown independent, basically, and now AEW Dynamite coming to the home state, Newark, New Jersey tonight. It's going to be awesome. And Anthony, I've said this on Twitter, but I just want to say it here for the people. Nobody back in those days was nicer to me when I was setting up the rings and doing the spotlight than you. I've always appreciated that.
Well, thank you, Robbie, first of all, and thank you again for having me on the show. And I remember I remember you showing up to one of the Pro Wrestling Syndicate shows or WrestlePro shows. I'm like, who is this kid that's always standing around? I felt so bad because nobody would be, no one came up to you. I'm like, let's welcome this kid. Clearly, you're a big wrestling fan. You're a good friend of Pat Buck. I think you were designing his gear and such. And then I think you trained a little bit too at the school.
Yeah,
I
an
don't know.
infamous class. It was Bowens, MJF, Fox. That's what they say about Create Pro.
Great. But yeah, I'm always making sure that if people are lingering around, that they feel welcome because I used to go to a ton of shows and stuff by myself, and I'd want to feel welcome too. So
Well, speaking of Create Pro and just training there, like under Pat Buck, I wanted to ask what that experience was like because we hear so much about Create Pro now, and I feel like it's like finally people are coming around to it where they're realizing, yeah, this school is getting people TV ready. They're getting people seriously like ready in short amount of time for this. And it's both you and Max Caster have Create Pro ties. So what was that experience like for you?
it was great. I think was one of the best wrestling minds in the business, and I think he's a fantastic trainer. And I think the school has a good set of fantastic trainers. There's Creative Pro New York, and there's Creative Pro New Jersey. New Jersey with Pat and Brian Myers. New Jersey, Pat Buck. At one point, it was Dan Moff, Mario Baccara, Kevin Matthews, and a bunch of other veterans like Justin and Mark Carino, Falaba. So it was a good collection and mix of minds that kind of helped at least developed my career and I guess my psychology and all of those like really really important things that have led to me being where I am today.
When you watch wrestling, who are the wrestlers you watch to learn from in terms of psychology? Like whether it be going back, whether it be guys today, who do you actually gravitate towards and say like I like the way that their mind works when it comes to wrestling?
It really depends on what mood I'm in and what I'm trying to learn because I've always been a big fan of Eddie Guerrero, Chris Jericho, Shawn Michaels. I love watching those guys. A lot of times lately I've been or not lately, I guess pre-pandemic, I was really into New Japan and studying the more, I guess, not strong style, but more the back and forth type of professional wrestling. So I like to try and mix everything together to try and make one complete package that's authentic to me. Does that make sense?
And obviously you've been working tag stuff with the Acclaimed, but when you watch Anthony Bowen's singles matches and Anthony Bowen's tag matches, I feel like you work both styles so well. Which one do you prefer, if any?
Good question. So I mean, it's out there now, but I'll say it again. I was a singles wrestler on the independents for 8 years pre AEW, pre the Acclaimed. I was in a tag maybe the first 2 years with I don't know if you remember AC Gamble,
Yep.
the Untouchables. We did a tag team thing for I guess a little bit, and I didn't particularly understand tag team wrestling back then. I kind of just did it. And then when I got to AEW and got paired with Caster, and all of a sudden we're in the best tag division in the world, I had to kind of relearn everything and fast. So that was kind of it was a challenge. It was a bit stressful as much as it was fun. I've had a recent singles run in the last couple prior to last week, and it was fun. It was good to show everyone that I can because in a tag sometimes you get a little bit limited because obviously you're sharing time with somebody else. There's four people in the ring as opposed to two. I got to show AEW that I can, go as a singles guy with some of the top people there. And honestly, as long as I'm on the show, I don't mind either one.
What made you understand tag team wrestling like this go around better than originally? Was it just you growing as a professional wrestler, or was it working with the better roster? Was it a combination of both?
Combo of both. Like we were immediately thrown like directly into the mix with everything. Uh,
Yeah.
Tony brought Castor and I together and said, "Hey, you're the Acclaimed. It's yours to create." And it's like, what is the Acclaimed? Who are we? And what do we do as a team? What are our tag maneuvers? How do we like?
Yeah, how detailed was Tony's original pitch? I know he brought you guys in together. Like, how much freedom did you guys get in that?
Literally, it was exactly what I just said. He was like, "Hey, I like both of you guys. I've been wanting to call someone the Acclaimed. Actually, from Chris Jericho told me that the original name of the Inner Circle was supposed to be the Acclaimed. It was
Oh,
supposed to be
wow.
Jericho and the Acclaimed, and one way or another, it ended up as Inner Circle. So then they bestowed that upon us, which was a big honor. And then he was just like, "Yeah, you guys are the Acclaimed, and you're wrestling in 2 hours." Like, okay, go. And Castro and I are just like, "Well, what is this? What do we do? Like, how do we?" If you go back and watch, you can find it on Dark. I think it's us against Trent and Chuck Taylor. That was our first match together, and it was, I can't watch it because so cringy because we didn't know what was like. He was rapping, he didn't have music under it or over it. I wasn't doing like my meme generating hype man type thing, so I'm just like standing there awkwardly, and we didn't have a move set. The match ended up being pretty good, but he just left it to us to create. And over the next few weeks, we were just like, "Hey, well, you're the rapper. You're the acclaimed rapper. I'm the critically acclaimed like sports entertainer with the YouTube and the acting and wrestling, modeling, all that stuff. Combine it together. Plus, I'm a hype man for the raps." And then each week we just started adding a new element and started to shape, I guess, the Acclaimed as you see us today. And I think the cool part is, as a fan, you can see the evolution from day one. Like, you
Yeah.
can watch every dark. I don't know why you would do that, but you can watch every um, from start to where we are now and see how we developed every single week in ring and as characters. And I think that's pretty cool.
That's really, and especially for like the local guys like me that have seen you in Wrestle Pro, seeing where the Acclaimed has gotten to at this point, it's friggin' awesome, man. It's like, oh my God, this is crazy. It's so cool. And working with tag teams like Best Friends, working with tag teams like the Young Bucks, what is that like? Do you learn more from them from actually getting in the ring with them or from talking about the match with them prior and just seeing how their mind works as far as that goes? Like, how is that working with veterans like them?
It's awesome. And the one, not the one, but one of the many good things about AEW is we have a plethora of resources at all times to learn from. So now that I'm comfortable enough to approach people, because I'm naturally a pretty shy guy, and I feel like I'm bothering people. Now I'm established on the roster. I'm comfortable taking advantage of those resources and doing tape study with FTR or the Bucks, and just kind of trying to pick up different elements from all these great minds that we have around us. So there's a little bit of that, and there's also learning, in the ring. There's a lot of stuff that just tends to happen out there, and then everything is like a learning experience, and then you can kind of go back and reflect with them afterwards. So there's never a day where you're not learning something. I guess no matter who you're in the ring with, and I don't know. It's just been really fulfilling and rewarding being able to work with these guys because they're the best, they're elite, they're the best wrestlers
Yeah.
in the world, and to have really good matches with them and have them be very happy and complimentary afterwards is kind of like this. It's very satisfying to know that I am on these guys' level, and I all the work that I've put in over the last 8 or 9 years was worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned Eddie, Sean, Jericho, some of your favorite wrestlers to watch. Who are some of your favorite tag teams to watch?
I mean, if I'm going back to the kid, I was a big Hardy Boys fan. I love the Hardy Boys. I watch a lot of Edge and Christian lately because I feel like we're almost not modeled after them, but it's kind of like a similar vibe, or like early 2000s Edge and Christian, where
Yeah.
they're these crazy goofballs that you can tell they're having such a blast with each other and doing all these funny things, but then when they get in the ring and they kick ass, we are. I don't want to be Edge and Christian, the acclaimed or the acclaimed, but I feel like that's a good.
Same
Um,
wavelength. I see what
yeah,
you're saying.
yeah,
Yeah.
I've been watching a lot of them lately.
I love that answer. I mean, both of them are doing such great work right now, and it's crazy to see them doing it. Whereas, like, 5 years ago, we would have never imagined this. You came out as bisexual a number of years ago. You did an interview actually with Barstool Sports with Pat about it. And over the past couple of years, I feel like the LGBTQ community in wrestling has really flourished, like even more so to the point where when you came out, what did it mean to you to get to talk about that a little bit with the big show this year, Paul White?
When I did first come out, I identified as bi. As I did some soul searching over the last couple years, I actually made another video announcement. I do identify more as gay, just to put that out there. But that being said, there was a lot of time spent, I guess, in my early 20s, trying to figure out who I was and stressing over, judgment, societal judgment. Would I have a career? Would fans accept me? Would other wrestlers accept me? Would there be situations where I'd have to defend myself because people don't like my quote unquote lifestyle? Like, there was a lot of that anxiety and there was a lot of that fear. And it's mind blowing to think that I can have a sit down interview with Paul White, someone I grew up watching since I was a child, discussing that to the world. I don't think about it as much as I should, and kind of reflective. I try to stay in the moment and just keep going because everything comes at you so fast now at AEW that I probably should take more time to stop and think like how wonderful it is that I'm able to be myself authentically in a locker room like AEW and on television and be, you know, a positive representation of the LGBT community as an entertainer and as an athlete. And, there was a time in my life where I didn't think that would be able to happen. And there's moments where I wish that I can go back and, tell younger me, like, don't cry, don't, sit in the garage in your car by yourself and just bawl your eyes out because everything's going to be okay. And I'm trying to fight back a little tears right now thinking about it because it was such an emotional, scary time in my life,
Yeah.
and to see how it's all turned out is absolutely insane. And now I'm lucky enough to try and help people who were in my shoes, and hopefully I am. If there's at least one person I can help, then job well done.
Dude, I definitely think they're out there. I think when you see the fan community that's out there of just LGBTQ fans that go to the shows together now and they like plan groups on Twitter, it's awesome to see. It's like the representation that you provide, I think definitely helps a lot of them. And as a friend, I'm very proud of you as well. We'll do some fun ones to close it out so the tears can stop. Who do you want to work with in AEW that you have not yet gotten in the ring with yet?
I mean, we went through a lot pretty fast. It was Jericho, it was the Bucks, and we, checked those off the box pretty quickly. Same thing. I wanted to wrestle Pac, got him 2 weeks ago. Cody, Kenny Omega. I watched, like I said, I got big into New Japan, so to have Kenny here as a resource and as somebody that I can potentially, have a banger with, he's definitely one of them. There's a ton of people on the tag roster that we haven't hit yet. I'd love to do FTR. I'd love to Proud and Powerful. Hopefully New York City maybe next week.
Yeah.
There's so many different tag teams that I think we would have an interesting dynamic with. I think 2.0 would be an interesting one too because it's two really big eclectic kind of characters going head to head with so many different possibilities. So there's a lot to be excited about for the Acclaimed and for fans.
And then if I could open the forbidden door and say someone outside of AEW could be in WWE, New Japan, could be in any company out there, who would you want to work outside of AEW?
Give me Ibushi. Give me Tanahashi. I want to go with these dudes so badly. I think they would be my top picks.
Wow, Bushi and Tanahashi, those are fantastic. And my final question, this is a question we used to ask every guest on From the Top Rope. Can you recommend us an obscure match? Could be one that you were in, could be one that you just enjoy as a fan that you don't think many people have seen, but you think people should see.
An obscure, define obscure.
Kevin Owens' answer to this was Brock Lesnar versus The Big Show Survivor Series. Go back and rewatch that because it was fantastic in 2004, I think it was.
I wish you asked me this beforehand, so I had to I don't know what to think to give you on.
It could be one of your own matches that you're like, I feel like this one didn't get enough credit.
I mean, that's kind of the easy answer. I don't want to put myself like. If we're going with that, myself and T.J. Crawford We went did a 30-minute draw in Union, New Jersey, right before I got signed last year, and that was one of my favorite matches. He's actually one of my favorite opponents and somebody that I think could be, a big star with, like, if he's the next big star in the Indies. If he's able to have the opportunity to break out, TJ is really, really good and
That's a great answer.
one of my favorite opponents. And there wasn't a lot of people there, but we went out there, and it was our second show after the pandemic, or back from the pandemic, and we just went out there and kicked the absolute shit out of each other, and people were going crazy. And it was
Union, New Jersey, the building with the really tiny ceilings.
Yeah, but we did it in the back outside.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it was pretty dope.
Yeah, I got lost coming back from there one day and wound up in like a sketchy area. It wasn't in Union though. It was like I went the complete opposite area. It was a whole conundrum. But yeah, great times in that building.
Yeah, it's actually, I don't know if it's one of my favorite buildings, but a lot of my actually I had another banger with TJ before that the following year, and with Casey Navarro. That building has a lot of good matches in it.
Yeah, it really does. WrestlePro put on some amazing shows back then with like some amazing talent too that has now gone on to like such big heights. And you're one of them, and I'm proud of you. Like I said, it's awesome to see. I'm excited for Dynamite tonight in New Jersey, home state. Anthony Bowens, thank you very much.
Thank you for having me, Robbie, and I'm proud of you too, because I know you've always wanted to work for Barstool, and you always wanted to. I remember you had your own podcast talking about MMA, and to see you do all the cool stuff that you're doing with UFC, and just to be out like one of the biggest guys there, personalities there, is absolutely awesome. So I am equally as proud of you, buddy.
Hell yeah. Thanks, man.
Later, buddy.